ठीक है. Hi, good afternoon to all of you. Please be seated. Hi, good afternoon. Clear. So, today the topic is Cold War and non-alignment, and if time permits, relationship with some neighboring countries also. This is also the topic. Clear. So, let us start with the phenomena of Cold War and non-alignment. Just understand the background first of all. Clear. Shall we start? Just settle down. That's it. Shall we start? Clear. So, just understand first of all the phenomena of Cold War. Clear. See, after the end of the Second World War in 1945, almost all the countries of the world got broadly divided into two blocks. Clear. And this division was largely on the basis of ideology. Clear. The two ideologies being known as the communist and the capitalist ideology. Clear? The communist ideology began to be represented by Soviet Union, and capitalist ideology began to be represented by United States and countries of Western Europe. Clear? This division took place, the reason was in the Cold War, in the Second World War itself, because while defeating Hitler, the most aggressive leader in Second World War, Soviet Union opens its own front against Hitler, and United States and allied powers opened its own front against Hitler. And why this happened also, we need to understand briefly. The reason was that European powers like Britain and France, rather than opposing Hitler, went on appeasing Hitler between the two world wars. And this sense of appeasement reached a height when European powers convened a conference at Munich in Germany in 1938. This conference was convened basically to decide the fate of an important country known as Czechoslovakia, which had been created after First World War. Clear? But huge stake in Czechoslovakia, a Balkan country, was of Russia because of racial affinity. Large Slav people that dominates Russia was also there in Czechoslovakia. But in Munich conference, Britain and France did not invite any leader of Czechoslovakia, nor did invite the leader of Soviet Union or Stalin. That affected the sentiments of Soviet Union, and it decided to fight Hitler on its own. Clear? And at the same time, Western powers led by US, they began to fight against Hitler separately. Clear? Therefore, bloc division took place even in Second World War itself. This distance got, or this difference got clearly exhibited after Second World War. This was first recognized by British Prime Minister Winston Churchill when he commented that an iron curtain has descended upon Europe, whereby eastern countries of Europe began to support communism, Western countries of Europe began to support capitalism. This got further manifested with division of defeated power, Germany into East Germany and West Germany. Leave aside division of Germany. The capital city Berlin was divided into two parts, East Berlin and West Berlin. West Berlin under capitalist influence, East Berlin under communist influence. This became the greatest manifestation of Cold War after Second World War. Clear? And in this context of Cold War, India, along with other countries like Indonesia, Yugoslavia, they advocated a third line of approach. This approach was guided by their limited resources. They realized if they aligned with any power bloc, they will also have to go for race for armament. Clear? And whatever meager resources has been left after colonial exploitation, it will be vested in acquiring arms and weapons. Rather, much more important was to go for socio-economic development of the masses. So Jawaharlal Nehru, President Sukarno of Indonesia, Joseph Tito of Yugoslavia, Abdul Nasser of Egypt, all of them advocated to maintain principled distance from the two power blocs. And this concept of maintaining principal distance from the two power blocks is termed as the ideology or principle of non-alignment. Make one thing very clear. In some sources, we read that non-alignment advocated neutrality from the two power blocks. It is absolutely wrong. Clear? There is no such concept like neutrality. The term is principled distance from the two power blocks. Clear? Because India never remained to be neutral after 1947. India played proactive role to promote both bilateral and multilateral relationship with countries and organizations. So the right word that is applied for non-alignment is the principle of equidistance or the principal distance from the two power blocks. When non-alignment was advocated by India after Second World War, it became one of the core principle of India's foreign policy. Clear? And this phase of Cold War continued through different ups and downs from 1945 till finally when Soviet Union collapsed and declined in 1991. Since the first one bloc itself came to an end, obviously there was no relevance of bloc politics. Cold War also came to an end. Clear? And with the end of Cold War, questions were raised about the relevancy of non-alignment as well. But we retained non-alignment as a major principle of India's foreign policy to make it clear that non-aligned movement, which was started from Belgrade in Yugoslavia since 1961, caters not only to bloc politics, rather it looked for contemporary issues like drug trafficking, human rights considerations, and at the same time regional conflict as well. This was the background of Cold War, background of non-alignment. Clear? But at the same time, in this overall perspective, we need to understand what was India's approach primarily with the neighboring countries. Clear? Just understand one concept here. Clear? It is a hard fact to be understood that India never shared healthy relationship with any of its neighboring countries in post-independent era except with one country. Clear? And in fact, we have never considered that country to be a separate one. We considered it to be more as a state of India. That country is only Bhutan. Clear? Otherwise, we had been having serious differences with all the countries right from India's independence. No, since we have limited time, we'll understand what has been the major issues with all the neighboring countries that has affected bilateral relationship till contemporary times. First of all, clear? Starting with the northwestern country, that is Afghanistan. Clear? What has been a major issue with Afghanistan? The major issue in Afghanistan has been hardcore fundamentalist regime which has been promoted since the era of Cold War. Understand briefly. Clear? Afghanistan was a country which was rather a very peaceful country till the end of 18th century. But Afghanistan became a controversial country because of clash of Cold War between US and Soviet Union. Clear? In the era of Cold War, clear, most of Central Asian countries were with Soviet Union like Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan. Clear? But Afghanistan was out of the ambit of Soviet Union influence. Soviet Union tried to bring Afghanistan also under its control. But United States was not ready for this because that could have disturbed the whole balance in Central Asia. So United States began to promote and sponsor a very hardcore radical group in Afghanistan known as the Mujahideen. Clear? Mujahideen was a creation of United States at this time. Clear? And with support of this group, United States went on creating problems in Afghanistan. Huge arms and weapons also began to be supplied since 1974 when it was peak of Cold War. Where the Soviet Union began to claim that it is disturbing the whole Central Asian politics. But since US went with supplying arms and weapons to Mujahideen, it forced Soviet Union to go for forced annexation of Afghanistan in 1979. Clear? So Soviet Union annexed Afghanistan in 1979 and thereafter Mujahideen continued to exist, but at the same time within Mujahideen a strong insurgent group came into being. This insurgent group being known as the Taliban group, clear? And this Taliban group established close contact with the world-level terrorist organization known as Al-Qaeda, clear? Run by Osama bin Laden, clear? There's an insurgency also, terrorism also. What do you mean by the term insurgency and terrorism? What do you mean by the difference of the insurgency and terrorism? Is there any difference between insurgency and terrorism? What is the difference?
Hand-to-hand fight.
Hand-to-hand fight. Terrorism is any act?
Against the government.
Against the government. Even among the public. And then what is insurgency? See, the utility of this short session is that I can give you something which is conceptually very important so that it may help you. Anyway, we cannot cover each and everything. So if such things come, at least you should have conceptual clarity. That will help you not only in IR, it may help you in internal security also. Clear? Purpose is this. What is the difference between insurgency and terrorism?
Insurgency basically dethroning the ruling party.
Yeah, true. Dethroning the ruling party.
Terrorism is overall terrorizing, influence, forcing their views, like
Intimidating the people. One thing is that insurgency is because of regime change, concerned with the regime change. In fact, I'll let you know. You will understand in a very layman term. Clear? Insurgency is simply equated by the term movement. And terrorism is indicated by the term method. Simply. Clear? Insurgency is movement. Terrorism is method. Clear? The difference again, I'll let you explain it. Clear? Insurgency is a movement basically for political regime change. Clear? And this regime change, since it is goes for regime change, insurgency always enjoys public support. Clear? Always public support. And in insurgency, the target is state and its agencies. Clear? But in terrorism, clear? Terrorism is a method whereby it does not enjoy support with local people. Clear? And most of the time, the target of terrorism is not government or state. The target of terrorism is always common masses. Clear? Therefore, real threat to peace and security is from terrorism, not from insurgency. Clear? Al-Qaeda in true sense is a terrorist group. Clear? And Taliban basically is an insurgency group. That is why Taliban went for regime change recently in Afghanistan that completed 1 year, 15th of August only. Clear? This is insurgency. So do understand the difference. Simply, if you want to understand some movement, another is method. Clear? One enjoys local support, other does not enjoy local support. Insurgency is basically for political change. Terrorism is basically for intimidating the people and also the community at large. This is the concept of insurgency and terrorism. Clear? And therefore, Taliban as an insurgent group emerged in Afghanistan. Clear? And at the same time created trouble in Afghanistan. In course of time, clear? India decided to deal with this regime. Clear? India went on supporting all the major factions of Afghanistan so that normalcy in reserve. Because we wanted normal Afghanistan because it is the only gateway to reach Central Asia marked with abundant amount of reserves like oil and gas. Clear? Tapi pipeline, other projects are already operating and Afghanistan enjoys strategic importance for us. Clear? But at the same time, clear? In 2001, clear? Al-Qaeda, led by Osama bin Laden, clear, led a terrorist strike on United States itself, clear? And this terrorist strike took place on September 2001. And United States also was forced to recognize that greatest threat to peace and security is from global terrorism. And thereafter only, United States attacked Afghanistan with support of NATO forces. And United States remained there almost for 2 decades, from 2001 till 2021. Clear? In this phase, they tried to subjugate the Taliban forces. Clear? but they failed in this process. And ultimately, operating for 20 years, they had to evacuate Afghanistan on 15th of August 2021, completed 1 year. Clear? Taliban came to power. This has been the development just because of support to Mujahideen. In fact, Osama bin Laden also supported the attack on United States because he realized the people of Afghanistan has been used by United States to create trouble for Soviet Union and Central Asia. In these developments, India has been prime contributor to Afghanistan's development. The reason is we are promoting several infrastructural projects in Afghanistan. Clear? The first being Salma Dam project in the region of Kabul. We have also constructed parliamentary building in Afghanistan. Third is that we are also constructing a dam at Kabul known as Shahtut Dam, and that was a news on 15th of August that Taliban regime has requested government of India to complete this dam and other projects so that its Afghanistan can return back to normalcy. Even they appreciated that India, after takeover of Taliban, has opened its embassy at Kabul. Clear? Moreover, India has constructed a road network known as Jaranj to Telaram, which has been constructed by the Border Roads Organization, which is a unit of Indian Army. Clear? Now, why we are investing so much in Afghanistan? We are investing so much in Afghanistan for two major reasons. Clear? First is the strategic reason. The reason is that China is trying to encircle India from Central Asia through its project known as One Belt, One Road policy. Clear? One Belt operates for entire through Central Asia to circle India from the other side. And one road is a term that is wrong. It's Maritime Silk Road promoted by China. So to counter such aggressive tendency of China, we need support of Afghanistan. This is one major reason. Clear? At the same time, it is also required to maintain balance of power in Asian continent, because it is known that Asian continent itself is turning into a unilateral continent dominated by China. It's a reality. Yesterday also, S. Jaishankar made it clear that we have an extremely tense situation relationship with China. Clear? At the same time, another important concern of India is that through Afghanistan, we can capitalize on huge reserves of oil and gas in Central Asian countries, especially Uzbekistan, Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan. This is the only way through which we can do. And at the same time, some projects are being operated internationally known as Tapi pipeline, which cannot be completed without the support of Afghanistan. Clear? Therefore, even though political disturbances are there, we are cooperating with Afghanistan so that with Afghanistan we can balance Asian equations and at the same time can capitalize on huge reserves of Central Asia to meet India's energy requirement, because it is known we are an extremely energy hungry country. It's clear briefly about Afghanistan. Do you want to write? Okay. No, it's not required. You just want to understand it's better because we can cover more topics. Clear? Coming to Afghanistan, I'll come to Pakistan later. After Afghanistan, clear? We need to know about two Himalayan nations and relationship with India. The two Himalayan nation states being Nepal and Bhutan. Clear? First of all, understand the condition of Nepal. With Nepal, what is the real problem? Clear? With Nepal, the real problem, for you also, for geography students, very important. With Nepal, the real problem is related to sharing of waters or use of waters originating from Himalayan region, and after flowing through Nepal, it enters into the large parts of Indian territory before it finally drains into the Bay of Bengal region. And most of it, they converge in the river Ganga. Clear? Now, what is the issue? Clear? There are three most prominent rivers that passes through Nepal. One most important being obviously Ganga. Clear? Second important river is Gandaki. We call in India as Gandak. And third major river is Kosi. Very important. Clear? Why we are very concerned about these rivers? Because Kosi is one river that changes its course every year. And that has become a permanent problem, especially for not Bihar. Clear? And therefore, we want embankments to be constructed so that water could be channelized. But since this is not acceptable to Nepal, it has created problem with this country. Clear? This is one problem. Another major issue with Nepal, because Nepal has strong anti-India sentiments, largely supported by Pakistan and China. Clear? Another major problem with Nepal is related to a spot. This spot is known as Kala Pani. Clear? And Kala Pani is the lowest point of this ridge, the highest point being known as Lipu Lake. Clear? What is the problem with Kala Pani and Lipu Lake? Clear? Because sometimes back we wanted to construct a road network through Lipu Lake, because through Lipu Lake we can reach up to very important pilgrimage center, the center being Kailash Mansarovar. Clear? But since it was not acceptable to Nepal, it has resulted to conflict. And this all conflict is also because of that India claims Lipu Lake to be its own territory, because it is located at the tri-junction of India, Nepal and Tibet, that is China. It is basically from India, it's Uttarakhand. Clear? From China, it's Tibet. And then Nepal. It's a tri-junction. Clear? You need to follow two tri-junction. One tri-junction disputed with Nepal, one tri-junction disputed with Bhutan, and that is Doklam. Clear? We'll come to Doklam issue. So this is a tri-junction. And why this is a disputed region? Because we follow an old treaty with Nepal that was drafted during British period only, known as Treaty of Sugauli. That was signed in 1816. Clear? And as per this Treaty of Sugauli, clear, this region was considered to be a part of British Indian territory. Clear? But after independence, Nepal proclaimed this territory, and since Nepal has proclaimed this territory, Indian government is not allowed to construct any road network through Lipu Lake to reach up to Kailash Mansarovar. This is Kala Pani, this is Lipu Lake. Another major issue is related to water, especially river Kosi, that has created problem for northern state of Bihar. This is second banking. But overall, clear, we are banking to improve relationship with Nepal. Reason being, clear, large number of common people of Nepal every year travel to India for look for employment opportunities, and these people who come to India, clear, these people are given employment in different unorganized sector, but they have a very bitter experience. So when they return back to Nepal, they narrate their stories in the villages, and that has led to strong anti-India sentiments. This is one thing. Not only this, clear, we have a very important regiment working in India from Nepal known as the Gurkha regiment. Clear? And even those regiments working under Indian government, they also does not narrate positive stories about India. This has also become a problematic issue for Indian government. So serious issues are there with Nepal that affects Indo-Nepal relationship. But anyway, India has been prime supporter of Nepal in regional organization. With India's support only, Nepal got membership in BIMSTEC, which is a regional grouping comprising of countries of South Asia and Southeast Asia. Obviously, India's gesture needs to be reciprocated, but there are serious disputes with Nepal. This is one country. Coming to another country, that is Bhutan. What is the issue with Bhutan? We have never treated Bhutan as an independent country. We have always considered Bhutan to be a state of India. In fact, when India became independent, Bhutan was given the status of protectorate state. That is, we took the responsibility of protecting Bhutan by formulating its foreign policy. At the same time, we also decided to provide budgetary allocations to Bhutan, and more importantly, we decided to promote hydroelectric projects in Bhutan, as it was huge potential for hydroelectricity. Clear? And in 2008, Bhutan drafted its own constitution, got transformed from autocratic monarchy to constitutional monarchy. Democratic system came into being, which was facilitated by Government of India. And at the same time, Indian government has promoted several hydroelectric projects in Bhutan, like the Tala project, the Chukha project, the Kurichu project. And we are also developing the Khlongchu project, which is hydroelectric project in Bhutan. Very important contribution given by India. But at the same time, of late, there has been one dispute with Bhutan. And the dispute is that in 2015, India gave a proposal to SAARC countries, all 8 countries including SAARC. And this proposal was given by India is known as Motor Vehicle Agreement, whereby we wanted transportation to be promoted to with SAARC countries so that people-to-people contact, this people-to-people contact in foreign policy is known as track 3 diplomacy, clear? People-to-people contact, as well as to promote better transportation and trade connectivity, clear? This was proposed in SAARC summit only, but Pakistan opposed the stand of India. It could not be adopted. After SAARC summit of 2015, we proposed this idea among 4 countries of South Asia. These countries are Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, and Nepal, clear? It is also known as BBIN, Motor Vehicles Agreement, clear? Bhutan initially accepted the proposal of India in 2016, but when Bhutan gave this proposal for ratification to its parliament, the legislators outrightly rejected. The reason is, you must be knowing, the Bhutan is known for its happiness index. Highest happiness index all across the world is there with Bhutan. Very polluted free country, environment friendly country, clear? Legislators of Bhutan made it clear, if motor vehicles from India, Bangladesh and other countries are allowed free passage to Bhutan, the environmental protection that we have given to our country will automatically be destroyed. Air quality will get destroyed. We cannot allow such agreement with Bhutan. Therefore, just because of opposition of Bhutanese legislators, Bhutan walked away from MVA, that is Motor Vehicles Agreement in 2017, which is a setback at diplomatic level by India. The reason is Pakistan has taken an edge over it. Pakistan said, since we opposed it in SAARC and we knew this agreement can never come into force, even Bhutan has rejected this, so that to make it clear that Bhutan should not be considered to be the closest ally of India among the neighboring countries. Clear? This is another major issue that has taken place between India and Bhutan. But overall, it remains to be the most important country among all the neighboring countries of India, Nepal and Bhutan. If we proceed towards the eastern side, in the Bay of Bengal region, we have 2 countries, neighboring countries, Bangladesh and Myanmar. Clear? Coming to Bangladesh, we share a long land and sea boundary with Bangladesh. Clear? Now, what has been the issue with Bangladesh? Clear? Issue with Bangladesh is again related to sharing of river waters. This is one thing. Second is land boundary dispute between Bangladesh. And third is related to illegal infiltration from Bangladesh, especially to Assam. Clear? Not to West Bengal, because anyway, they are coming to West Bengal also, but government of West Bengal does not oppose that. In fact, in recent election only it was made clear. In fact, they are given election ID cards also. And if one chunk of Bangladeshi people will come, the whole election will change. And that happened also. There's no doubt. Clear? That is why Home Minister was very keen on NRC and all. We'll come to that. NRC is largely related to Assam only. And it's basically for Bangladeshi infiltrators. Clear? So first is related to water sharing. Second is related to land boundary, especially related to enclaves like Dahagram and Angkor Pota enclaves. And third is related to very important issue, that is illegal infiltration. We have an act also, IMDT Act, which has failed utterly. Clear? Why it has failed?
They can be called Rohingyas.
No, Rohingyas are different. Rohingyas are from Myanmar. Clear? Not from Bangladesh. Clear? Rohingyas, Anglo-Indian Muslims.
So can you please explain this enclave and what does it stand for?
I'll let you know enclaves. Clear? In fact, it is a very important issue. Clear? So this is issue, clear? We won't go into history. We only liberated Bangladesh in 1971 with support of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman and Mukti Wahini. Clear?
In 2016 to 17, land boundary was also settled between India.
It has been settled. It has been settled.
Is it still be contention of?
No, not a contention, but a very positive development. But I'll let you know how it got settled down. Clear? What measures has been done, and that will be done through enclaves. Just understand. Clear? First of all, let us discuss this issue only. Clear? India and Bangladesh may be new countries. Man-made boundaries has been divided. But if you look from geographical perspective, this region is a holistic or single integrated region. Clear? Resources are not uniformly distributed. Right from ancient time, resources were only found in pockets across India and Bangladesh. So wherever resources were found, people settled at those places. Clear? And therefore, in course of time, those places where people got settled, these places came to be known as originally as hamlets. Clear? In course of time, we call those hamlets even as enclaves. Clear? Large number of enclaves are there across the border between India and Bangladesh. Clear? These enclaves are there. When India became independent, clear, some enclaves went to Bangladesh or East Pakistan at that time. Some enclaves got confined within India. Now, issue was how to ensure movement of people across the enclaves. So, initially boundary was also permeable, very porous boundary. People used to move only with certain checkposts. Otherwise, it was free movement altogether. Clear? In course of time, when illegal infiltration began to take place, we wanted to change this. And how we did that was, when India liberated Bangladesh in 1971, after some time only, Indira Gandhi and Sheikh Mujibur Rahman concluded land boundary agreement in 1974. Clear? Now, what were the terms of this land boundary agreement? Clear? There was two important enclaves which were demanded by Bangladesh from India. Clear? These two enclaves were the Dahagram enclave, which is a very prominent enclave, and second is known as Angkor Pota enclave. Clear? So Bangladesh demanded these two enclaves from India. It falls within Indian territory. Clear? At the same time, India agreed also to surrender these two enclaves to Bangladesh. Not only these two enclaves only, a connecting strip of land also to Bangladesh to connect Dahagram and Angkor Pota. This land is known as Teen Bigha, and therefore it is known as Teen Bigha corridor. We gave this to Bangladesh, but not only one-sided. We demanded one thing from Bangladesh, and that has got a history. Clear? What we demanded from Bangladesh is, we demanded the surrender of an important region known as the Beru Bari Union region. Clear? We need to understand. Clear? The boundary between India and Bangladesh is originally named as the Radcliffe Line. It was divided by Boundary Commission in 1947 only, headed by Lord Radcliffe. Clear? This boundary line was demarcated by Radcliffe between India and Pakistan based on one major criteria, and that criteria was whichever area has 60% or more than 60% concentration of Muslim population were to be demarcated as Pakistan. So one block was fought in Urdu-speaking region of northwestern India. Another block was fought in Bengali-speaking region of eastern India. So two North-Eastern Pakistan was created as East and West Pakistan. But Lord Radcliffe committed a mistake there. That mistake was Beru Bari Union was a region having more than 60% of Muslim population. But it was shown in the map within Indian territory. So India, Bangladesh wanted this area after India's independence, East Pakistan. We agreed also. Nehru made it clear that we will give this area to the country of East Pakistan. But he could not give this area as such. Supreme Court took the issue and Supreme Court made it clear. If even a pocket of territory has to be given by India to another country, Constitutional Amendment Act is mandatory. And therefore, Indian government enacted the 9th Constitutional Amendment Act in 1960, and we gave away the region of Beru Bari Union to East Pakistan. Clear? The same region was demanded back by Indira Gandhi in 1974 in the Land Boundary Agreement. Clear? So we decided to surrender Dahagram and Angkor Pota along with Teen Bigha corridor, and in turn we wanted the surrender of this region known as Beru Bari Union region. Clear? Bangladesh accepted, and finally in 2016 we resolved this Land Boundary Agreement. It was a contentious issue earlier, now it has been settled down. This is one issue between India and Bangladesh, one major factor in Indo-Bangladesh relationship. Second is, sharing of water between India and Bangladesh. Clear? Now, first of all, we'll understand. Clear? The most prominent river that flows along with India and in Bangladesh before draining into Bay of Bengal is none other than river Ganga. Clear? So, first of all, we wanted to decide about the water of river Ganga. In 1996, we concluded a treaty with Bangladesh known as the Ganga Water Treaty. It is also known as Farakka Treaty. The reason is, as per this treaty, we made it clear that a point will be there at which we will decide what would be the quantum of water of Ganga to be released for Bangladesh. Clear? It varies from season to season, from year to year. Clear? And this point chosen for the release of quantum of water to Bangladesh, this point was Farakka. Clear? And therefore, at Farakka every year, the quantum of water, depending on availability, is decided, released for Bangladesh for irrigation activities. Clear? Therefore, Ganga Water Treaty also became successful. Farakka Water Treaty also became successful. That is a positive sign. But at the same time, another river is disputed even now, and that is Teesta. Clear? Teesta River is again flowing across India and then going to Bangladesh. Clear? We wanted similar agreement like Ganga Water Treaty with Teesta also. We were ready also. Clear? But at the same time, this was not acceptable to state government of West Bengal. Mamata Banerjee. Clear? She totally opposed. She made it clear, if this water is allowed to go to Bangladesh, if it is not stopped through dam or other network, it will bereft North Bengal from agriculture and irrigation facilities. So we want this water to be utilized round the year for agriculture and irrigation facilities of North Bengal. Since she opposed this thing, Teesta Water Treaty could not be implemented and still remains to be a controversial issue between India and Bangladesh. Second thing, third important thing, clear? There is one another river common between India and Bangladesh, and that is flowing through northeastern part of India, and that is the Barak River. Clear? Barak River from Manipur and then entering into Bangladesh. Clear? Starting from Assam, passing through this region, entering Bangladesh. Clear? And in Manipur, near Imphal only, here we have constructed a dam on Barak River to store the water for irrigation activities, and this dam is known as the Tipai Mukh Dam. Clear? This Tipai Mukh Dam is constructed on river Barak in Manipur to store the water. Again, Bangladesh opposes the construction of dam for two reasons. Number one, first of all, it stops the supply of water. And second is that if the height of the dam is increased or enhanced, clear, and in course large water stored, even if a small area is opened, it will lead to flooding in Bangladesh. Clear? So this is a controversial issue between India and Bangladesh. That is the Tipai Mukh Dam in Manipur. All related to sharing of waters. Clear? So land boundary and water sharing. Clear? The third major issue between India and Bangladesh largely is related to maritime boundary also, because in this maritime boundary, we follow a principle of UNCLOS, that is United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, and both India and Bangladesh are members of UNCLOS that came into being in 1982. Clear? And within UNCLOS, there's a principle which applies for sharing of water, a maritime boundary. This principle is known as Pelvic Principle. What is this principle? In geography, you must be knowing. What is Pelvic Principle? 2 nautical miles. That is exclusive economic zone. 200 nautical miles from the baseline is basically exclusive economic zone. What is Pelvic Principle? Huh?
According to it, sir, the area between the sea should be equally divided.
Equally divided. But from how will you divide equally? There must be some benchmark. There must be some criteria.
The continental shelf of the
Continental shelf, not continental shelf. Pelvic Principle basically says, clear, and it applies only for navigable water. Make it clear. Only for navigable water. Clear? Political entities. Yeah, boundary also, sea boundary, land, that is water boundary, but point is, clear, that if a river is a navigable river, clear, then the lowest point of that navigable point will be taken and median will be drawn. That is, from that point, clear, the water will be equally divided between two adjoining countries. Clear? This is known as Pelvic Principle, applies only for navigable waters. You need to know this thing with respect to Sir Creek issue also. Clear? Same applies for Sir Creek issue also, whereby it is navigable and at the same time tidal estuary. Clear? It is navigable, and from the deepest point, the midpoint is calculated, half to be given to Pakistan, half to be given to India. But Pakistan wants more area beyond this point, clear, that is touching the region of Gujarat. India wants more region beyond this point, touching the region of Sindh. Clear? This is Sir Creek issue. Similar issue is there with Bangladesh also, following the Pelvic Principle. In fact, India wants that since a proportion of the country is very large, it should even be more area so that protection of Bangladeshi water could also be ensured and domination of China could be checked with Indian support. This also remains to be a contentious issue. The most contentious issue is related to illegal migration. Now just understand. Clear? No, it's not applicable because it's not navigable as such. It's basically a ridge. Clear? Deepest point is Kalapani, the highest point is Lipu Lake. Same place. Clear?
What about Limpiadura? There's one more place, Limpiadura.
Limpiadura is there. That is nearby Lipu Lake only. Clear? That is near. Bone of contention is there because normally when construction work started, we wanted to connect with this region as well. But since Lipu Lake itself is disputed by Nepal, obviously we cannot continue with that. So it also remains to be a contentious issue. Please. Just because West Bengal wanted this region to be given to them, especially the southern part of Berubari Union, clear? Because West Bengals culturally they are connected with this region right from pre-independent era. So it has always been the demand of the people of West Bengal that this region should be handed over to them. Since on the basis of state they cannot take this region, so Union government had to intervene. So it wanted this region and ultimately it was taken and land boundary agreement got settled down between India and Bangladesh. Coming to illegal migration. Now, how many of you know about what is the issue? You must be knowing about Foreigners Act also. Some major legislation you must be knowing. One is Foreigners Act of 1946. Another is IMDT. IMDT, that is 1983, and recently being another development known as NRC, all applicable to related to Bangladesh. Clear? First of all, clear? The issue is, since people from Bangladesh, initially East Pakistan, has been migrating to adjoining areas, most of them came to India also, that is in West Bengal. Most of them went to northeastern region also, especially to Assam. Clear? In course of time, since huge infiltration of people took place to Assam, it created trouble for local inhabitants of Assam, especially students who are the most aspiring community in a society. Clear? Since large number of Bangladeshi people came to northeastern states of Assam, clear, there was stiff competition in schools and colleges, there was stiff competition for job opportunities, there was stiff competition for every other opportunities as well. That is why large number of students in Assam, they came together to protest against Bangladeshi infiltration, and these students established an organization known as All Assam Students Union, or ASU. Clear? This All Assam Students Union was formed to demand the check in the infiltration of Bangladeshi people. When protests started by ASU, that is All Assam Students Union, Indian government had to respond, and Indian government enacted Illegal Migration Determination by Tribunals Act in 1983. Now, what is the problem? Why it could not stop? What was the major flaw? As per the provisions of IMDT, first of all, it was made clear, any Bangladeshi people who has come to India or come to Assam after 25th of March 1971 will be considered to be illegal. Now, why this date? 25th of March 1971, because on this date Indo-Pak war started and that resulted into liberation of Bangladesh. Clear? So all those people who were there in Assam before 25th of March 1971 could be considered to be Indian citizens, but all those people who had come to Assam after 25th of March, that is after its liberation, they will be considered to be illegal persons. This was the first major thing under IMDT Act. Moreover, the flaw was that in order to identify any person as illegal immigrant, clear, you need two things. Clear? First of all, an accused, that is illegal immigrant, and second is there must be some complainant who will inform the government. Clear? So there is always two things, complainant and accused. Clear? Under IMDT Act, it was made clear that a complainant who identify any person as illegal immigrant, clear, the onus will be on complainant to prove that he is an illegal migrant. That is, evidences, witnesses will have to be provided by the complainant. Accused has nothing to do. Clear? Now, how many complainant can take this responsibility of providing evidences and witnesses to prove that that person is illegal immigrant? This has been the major flaw. Clear? So it was not the responsibility of the accused, it is the responsibility of complainant. This became the biggest flaw. IMDT failed. Clear? Same thing was totally reversed in Foreigners Act. In Foreigners Act of 1946, it was made clear the onus of proving the citizenship lies on the accused, not on the complainant. It has been reversed in IMDT Act. It became a flaw and therefore IMDT Act could not prevent illegal migration to Assam. Clear? Infiltration continued, and finally Supreme Court also asked to take major measures by Government of India to check this infiltration. And finally, the Union Home Minister of India recently came out with National Register for Citizens. Clear? He made it clear that there should be a proper register of citizens. Citizens means those people of Assam, and it is applicable only for Assam. Clear? Those people of Assam who has come from Bangladesh before 25th of March 1971 will be considered to be citizens, but those who have come after that, they will be considered to be not illegal, rather illegal citizens, and will have to go back. Clear? This NRC was done in 2021 only. Millions of people are out of this register. That make it clear they all are illegal migrants from Bangladesh to Assam. Clear? This has been a big controversy between the two neighboring countries. IMDT Act. Yeah, please.
It's not be completed until there is a register.
No, it's not, and it cannot be completed easily. It will take long time. Clear? But obviously, large section of people has already been identified that at least they are not citizens of Assam. They have to go out because they have been identified. Clear? So obviously, Government of India will have to go for mass exodus at this time. Clear? It has to be a tough thing. But obviously, see, it may not be possible. At least if identification is done, major rights enjoyed by them like citizenship rights can be denied to them. Clear? So they can be at least considered to be aliens in India. Aliens are not granted all the fundamental rights, or at least that can be done. And employment opportunities and other benefits could be provided to proper citizens of Assam. Clear? This is so NRC came because IMDT failed. Why it failed? The provisions creates what? Complainant and accused. These major issues with Bangladesh. Clear? Major issues with Myanmar. Clear? What are the major issues with Myanmar? One major issue that has affected Indo-Myanmar relationship is that India always wants democratic government to be established in Myanmar, and most of the time democratic government is suppressed by military regime known as junta in Myanmar. Clear? Therefore, India has always supported democratic leader Aung San Suu Kyi, who heads a party known as National League for Democracy, NLD, clear? Recently also in 2021, she won thumping majority, but has been put behind the bars, clear? But of late, India has shown maturity. India has realized we have to recognize and negotiate with military junta also, because if we don't do that, Myanmar is drifting more towards China, and therefore to check this, it is better to be more pragmatic, more realistic, and even to recognize military junta in Myanmar, clear? And at the same time, to keep Myanmar away from China, recently India has promoted several investment projects in Myanmar, clear? The first major infrastructure project being known as the Kaladan multimodal multi-purpose project, clear, on river Kaladan in Myanmar. At the same time, clear, we have also decided to promote some major investments, and these investments are that there is a foreign wing of ONGC known as OVL, ONGC Videsh Limited. It has started oil and gas exploration in many fields of Myanmar, clear? It will lead Myanmar to earn foreign exchange and at the same time fulfill the energy requirements of India. Not only OVL, even GAIL has been authorized to go for exploration in Myanmar. That is Gas Authority of India Limited, clear? Moreover, some private companies are also promoted to go for investments. Reliance has gone for huge investments in Myanmar. And at the same time, Tata company has recently started a plant of turbo truck construction in Myanmar in order to provide huge support for transportation in this country. And all these are being done not only to counter China, because Myanmar is the gateway for India to enter into Southeast Asia, clear? And as we all know, we cannot become a member of ASEAN, but through Myanmar, we can play a proactive role in ASEAN, which is a very prominent trading bloc for India. This is Myanmar, clear? After Myanmar, coming toward the southern side, we have country that is Sri Lanka, clear? Major controversy related to LTTE, but LTTE has ended in 2019, clear? Briefly, I'll let you know. This issue is largely because of one ethnic community in the northern and eastern part of Sri Lanka known as Tamilians. They had been going to this region since ancient times, clear? And we always wanted to protect the interest of Tamilians because we have large number of Tamilians in Tamil Nadu as well, clear? In that process only, negotiation began between Rajiv Gandhi and Sri Lankan President Jayawardene that led to Rajiv Jayawardene Accord of 1987, clear? And as per this accord, it was decided that all the LTT will surrender and at the same time, provincial autonomy would be given to Tamilians in northern and eastern part of Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka even agreed to go for Constitutional Amendment Act known as 13th Amendment to Sri Lankan Constitution. But since it could not be enacted by Sri Lankan legislators, largely being Sinhalese who are opposed to Tamilians, clear? At the same time, LTT began to have serious grievances against Rajiv Gandhi only, clear? And that resulted into assassination of Rajiv Gandhi at Chennai when suicide bomber blasted in 1991. But this itself proved to be counterproductive against LTT. The reason is the mastermind of Rajiv Gandhi assassination, V. Prabhakaran, clear? At the same time, LTT lost all its social base because the millions of India till that time were supporting LTT. But after assassination of Rajiv Gandhi, the millions of India dissociated themselves from LTT. LTT lost a strong social base. And thereafter, Sri Lankan government got opportunity to flush this terrorist out, clear? And Mahinda Rajapaksa played a very important role. And in 2009, total LTT has been flushed out from Sri Lanka. But one problem ended, another problem came. And that is related to huge economic crisis in Sri Lanka. Now, what are the reasons? Clear? You need to understand. The reason is high inflationary tendency in Sri Lanka in 2021 crossed even 15% mark, clear? And at the same time when this took place, people came on road, clear? But why, first of all, why this crisis took place, clear? We need to understand, huh? Yeah, dependence on organic farming is one reason, geographical reason, pandemic also, huh? Due to freebies to some extent, but that freebies issue has been exaggerated, clear?
External debts,
External debt,
extra tax tourism.
Tourism. The first is tourism. In fact, most important economic activity in Sri Lanka is tourism. How it got affected? First of all, before COVID only, in 2019, there was jihadist attack, bombing attack in many places of Sri Lanka, like the hotels, on Easter attack, like in hotels and tourist destination. Since huge amount of bombing took place by jihadists, obviously large number of tourists refused to go to Sri Lanka. So major source of revenue earning got affected in Sri Lanka. This was one thing, clear? This got further complicated soon when pandemic took place, and pandemic totally washed away any earning from tourism, clear? So one sector totally became dysfunctional for Sri Lanka. This one thing. At the same time, Sri Lanka is one country which is dependent on other countries even for basic commodities. It is neither a developed agriculture nation nor an industrial hub. So even for basic commodities, it is dependent, like paper also, clear? They're dependent on other countries, clear? Obviously, foreign exchange has to be given to other countries to import articles. At this time, Sri Lanka realized that since economy is not working, Sri Lanka committed a mistake also, and that mistake was hoarding of hard currency, that is dollar. They decided to hoard because they realized in coming time they will be needing it to purchase some basic commodities, clear? At the same time, another factor is Sri Lanka has started to promote sustainable agriculture through organic farming, clear? And organic farming has its own gestation period to give desired yield, clear? Before that yield could be generated, crisis took place, clear? So if they could have gone for chemical fertilizers and packaged program, that could have at least resulted into sufficient food grains. So organic farming also became a major factor, clear? This crisis began to be realized when examination in schools and colleges began to be cancelled because of lack of paper and ink, clear? And therefore people realized huge crisis has taken place. They came on roads, they began to protest, clear? But this all developments in Sri Lanka has led to one strategic concern for India. That is, Sri Lanka has gone and set in the lap of China, clear? And China has started to provide huge support to Sri Lanka to deal with this crisis, clear? Not only this, clear? China has started with string of pearls, and one pearl of China is the city of Hambantota in Sri Lanka, clear? So in the backyard of India, we are being encircled, in which Sri Lanka plays an important role. So we also went for huge investments in Sri Lanka, but our investments is less than China right now. So quite anticipated, Sri Lanka will be more tilted towards China, but we are doing our best. From 2017 only, we started with a new scheme, and that scheme is even Sri Lankan students are allowed to compete along with Indian students in national eligibility cum entrance test, NEET and IIT, clear? Even Sri Lankan students has been allowed by Government of India, but large number of such measures needs to be adopted in order to wean away Sri Lanka from the control or ambit of China, because without that, even Indian Ocean can be lost to China by India. This is the status of Sri Lanka.
The external debt of Sri Lanka will always
Yeah, external debt, because the reason is again, Sri Lanka cannot fulfill its own requirement also on its own. So in fact, there's a term, debt trap, clear? It is also expected that Sri Lanka may fall into debt trap of China also, clear? Sri Lanka. Last major small country is Maldives. What is there to be discussed about Maldives? By 2100, maybe Maldives is not there. Geographically, you must be knowing. Yeah, that's a reality. Flattest country on the globe. 2.54 meters height above the sea level. Even with this rate of global warming, clear? By 2100, 70% of the area of Maldives will be underwater, clear? That is reality, clear? So obviously it is submerging day by day, clear? But then also one major issue is climatic factor. Another major issue is Islamic fundamentalist. Clear? The state is a proclaimed Islamic nation state, and just because it is a proclaimed Islamic state, clear, it always wants to promote the Sharia law that normally goes against the secular credential of India. But again, like Sri Lanka, it has also been brought under the ambit of China to control Indian Ocean. That is why right now Indian government is very keen, and when Narendra Modi became Prime Minister for the second time, his first official visit was to Maldives when he attended the oath-taking ceremony of new President Mohammed Saleh. Clear? He was there. He made it clear that he is ready to support, because we are lifting the people also from the peripheral regions, because land is submerging almost on a continuous basis. We are providing some basic materials through aerial route, because no rail route, no link route is there, no network is there, so aerial route is the only option. Clear? We are trying our best, but at the same time, huge investments done by China, even in this region like Sri Lanka, is leading to the drift of this region to Sri Lanka, to China. This is affecting the whole geopolitical strategy of India in South Asia. Major countries, major issues. Pakistan, you may be knowing all the major issues. Clear? Kashmir is one thing. Tulbul navigation project is another. Baglihar Dam is another issue. Sar Creek issue. Major issues. Clear? And since we had discussed about the new draft of or new reorganization of Jammu and Kashmir into two union territories, since then Pakistan's role has largely been curtailed to some extent. Clear? So largely it is related to the Baglihar Dam project, the Tulbul navigation project, the Sar Creek issue, and obviously cross-border terrorism always remains to be there. Major issues. If we could have written, we could not have completed. Concept is clear how these developments goes. While you prepare these topics, remember two things. First is how you need to prepare the topic itself. That will also have its impact on answer. In IR, three things should be there in your answer. One is your answer in paragraph should be, first paragraph should be on retrospect. That is historical background, briefly. Large body should be on contemporary developments. And third paragraph should be on the future prospect of this relationship. Clear? What do you expect out of this relationship? So always follow this approach. Introduction, it should be retrospect. Body, the contemporary developments. And conclusion, it should be the future prospect, the way forward. You need to be very optimistic in that. Clear? So way forward. Content or three major dimensions has to be there in IR. It's not only with neighboring countries. If you go with major powers also like Russia or US, or with international organizations also. Retrospective development, contemporary ones, and then the prospect. Is it clear? Any question related to neighbor? Yeah, please. IMF and World Bank. I'll let you know. Clear? See, first of all, IMF provides fund basically to rectify balance of payment crisis, short-term funds. Clear? But these short-term funds are provided not without any condition. IMF is basically known for imposing conditionalities. It's a watchdog of the financial system. Conditionalities first. You have to deposit certain fixed assets with IMF, largely gold. Second is you have to introduce macroeconomic changes in economy. Then only IMF will provide the special drawing rights to rectify the balance of payment crisis. But here, Sri Lanka is not even in a condition to introduce macroeconomic changes. The ministers are being snatched on road. Clear? At this time, Sri Lanka cannot hope for any major economic change. There's one thing. Moreover, if Sri Lanka could have anything like gold to keep with IMF, it could have utilized this to solve problems at this time. Clear? So just because conditionalities may not be accepted, IMF cannot support Sri Lanka. World Bank provides fund basically for long-term character for infrastructural development. Clear? But infrastructural development also when there is no chance of civil disturbances or political instability. So first of all, Sri Lanka will show political stability and lack of civil disturbances, ethnic conflict, then World Bank can plan for long gestation projects like infrastructure projects. So Sri Lanka is left out. But the hard reality is it has gone into the arms of China. Clear. And we all know, as Jaishankar told yesterday also, clear, we are having extremely tense situation with China.
So what can we do now? Because we asked them to not send their ships and still they have sent it.
They will do that.
The eyes of the international policy, sir, we are behind China now.
See, again, I'll let you know, China is not going to stop anyway. Things are to be watched. In fact, when China attacked Taiwan, it was anticipated much earlier. When Russia-Ukraine crisis took place, at that time only people began to anticipate. The next thing would be to divert the attention from Russia-Ukraine to China-Taiwan. It was anticipated, clear? It was only that I would say that US provoked this thing. What was the point of visiting Taiwan at this critical time by representative or House Representative Nancy Pelosi? Not required at all. It was a provoking thing, clear? China responded very actively, and China is not going to stop anyway, because this is the right time for China, because whole world politics is in flux. Whole world politics in flux, clear? It's not about Russia, Ukraine. It's not about China, Taiwan, clear? Even Israel has started bombing on Gaza Strip, clear? Every aggressive country is taking full advantage of the situation, because collective security seems to be collapsing. That's the biggest danger sign. UN is not playing any role, clear? And at the same time, the most important thing is fear or invincibility of US has been diminished, clear? So obviously we have to wait for new world order now, clear? Because invincibility of US is no more. China does not respect that, Russia does not respect that, clear? And US has digged its own grave, clear? Because committing some mistakes. You just go for regime change without any plan for post-war reconstruction, clear? Obviously, how will the countries trust a superpower? Clear? So that has never been done by US. So new world order is awaiting, because anyway, China is going to strongly assert in global politics. Clear? And India has to be very cautious at this time, clear? We cannot commit even a small mistake, clear? Even though we have shown some support to Taiwan, but it should always be very diplomatic in nature. Okay, is it fine, clear? If you follow papers and all, you will get to know the trend also, how things are taking shape right now. The world politics is in flux. No, not at all. India has to be very conservative right now, clear? And India has to look totally for national interest. Idealism will not work for India right now. We have to be hardcore concerned with national interest. Obviously, we cannot support Ukraine, because obviously as we support Ukraine, we will antagonize Russia. And Russia is all-weather friend for India. How can you antagonize Russia at this time, clear? And it's not only antagonizing Russia. If you antagonize Russia, you antagonize China. The problem is this, clear? Huh?
China Taiwan attack करता है, India militarily US को support करेगा कि चलेगा कि नहीं?
Militarily. Military. I don't think so. I don't think so. If you want to use the word militarily, India will. Quad is there only as a cooperation group, just to show strength, clear? Do you think that China has been intimidated by such thing? Nothing. It nothing to do, clear? These are all Quad. Because anyway, Malabar exercise. Has China been affected by such Malabar exercise? No way, clear? Militarily, India will not go to that extent, because we cannot afford to do this, clear? Rest depends on the wisdom of the political leaders. But practically speaking, it should not be done.
Even US cannot ask to support India.
US will never support. US has disturbed the whole situation right now, clear? In fact, US needs to support itself now. That is the reality, clear? Time has come. US will have to support itself first, clear? Because obviously, the point I'm saying, invincibility of superpower has been washed away. Who respects? What US has done for Ukraine, what US has done for Taiwan, and what US can do for Taiwan? No.
The last 3 attacks on the Taiwan state got thwarted by US.
Huh.
This is the 4th attack.
This is the 4th attack, clear? And at the same time, US obviously is shrinking its role, clear? It's shrinking its role. The biggest problem that was, what is the Pandora box was opened? Pandora box was opened with US withdrawal from Afghanistan. The first question mark on its credibility was raised when it withdrew from Afghanistan. Then only they realized what to respect about US. After 20 years of operation also, you cannot tame one single country, clear? How can you think of controlling the whole world politics?
You have
Pandora, huh?
US has dug its own graves.
US, because and moreover, it has disturbed the whole global politics. So we have to be very cautious to wait for new world order. How it does stay, because the world politics is in flux, and it will take some time, 6 months, 7 months, it will take to settle down everything.
They have started wars that they can't win.
They cannot. And the most important thing with US is it has never have its own post-war reconstruction plan. What it has done for Iraq, what it has done for Afghanistan, what it has done for Ukraine, and what it will do for Taiwan, Venezuela, Cuba, what US has done. Once it is destroyed, US tries to create distance from it. They did with Afghanistan, but there Al-Qaeda operated against US. That is Osama bin Laden, clear? Because there they made a scapegoat, they retaliated very strongly, clear?
People make money out of
Selling the weapons. And it's only trade, because weapons are not being purchased for war. Weapons are only being purchased for trade, clear? It's only about giving incentives to the vendors, nothing more than that. That's a reality. Military exercises and all, that is conflicted. Shakti, Indra, Varun, what is this? There's nothing to do with the big words that we use. Interoperability, cross development, no. It's pure marketing strategy. You depute your sophisticated weapons in joint exercises, the other military personnel will ask the government to purchase that. It's kind of demo where it is being done. Yeah, it's a demo thing. It's a pure marketing strategy. If anyone says that obviously we'll also write the same thing answer. Interoperability and others. But the hard reality is business strategy. It's pure business strategy, it's marketing strategy. Clear? How we came to know about sophisticated weapons of UNs to purchase? We got this because of joint exercises. It's a marketing strategy. Clear? Is it fine? Clear? So, in the next session, I'll let you know the topic. We have topics in that. Is this briefly the clear everything, how things are to be done? Clear? So, anyway, we'll follow the same approach so that more and more things can be covered. Because if we start writing, only 1 or 2 things are done. Clear? So, we'll have this discussion. I was a bit fast, I suppose. Clear? What you got? It was me. Yeah, okay, fine. So, things are clear. The purpose is to make the things clear. So, in the next session, we'll take up another issue. I think in now next Thursday only. Thursday, Friday, we have 2 sessions. Okay, thank you. Please.